John Wayne Gacy, known as the Killer Clown, remains one of the most infamous and terrifying serial killers in American history. His dual life as a beloved community figure and a sadistic murderer left an indelible mark on the nation. This biography delves into the chilling life of Gacy, revealing the horrifying depths of his crimes and the lasting impact of his legacy. John Wayne Gacy was born on March 17, 1942, in Chicago, Illinois. He grew up in a turbulent household, enduring a difficult relationship with his alcoholic father, who was abusive both physically and emotionally. Despite these challenges, Gacy sought to prove himself, often going to great lengths to gain his father's approval, albeit unsuccessfully. From an early age, Gacy exhibited troubling behaviors. He struggled with feelings of inadequacy and repressed homosexual desires, both of which he concealed behind a mask of normalcy. After several failed attempts at higher education and a brief stint in Las Vegas, Gacy returned to Chicago, where he would later marry and establish a seemingly stable family life. In the 1970s, Gacy moved to Norwood Park, a suburban area of Chicago, where he became a well-known and respected figure in the community. He was a successful building contractor and active in local politics. Gacy even performed at children's parties and charitable events as Pogo the Clown, a persona that would later add a sinister twist to his infamy. Despite his outwardly normal life, Gacy's inner demons were beginning to surface. In 1968, he was convicted of sexually assaulting 2 teenage boys and served time in prison. However, after his release, he managed to regain his standing in the community, hiding his dark impulses behind the veneer of a respectable citizen. Gacy's reign of terror began in earnest in 1972, when he started luring young men and boys to his home under various pretenses, such as offering them work or drugs. Once inside, Gacy would ply them with alcohol and handcuff them, telling them it was part of a magic trick. He then subjected his victims to brutal torture, rape, and eventually murder. Gacy's preferred method of killing was asphyxiation. He would use a garrote, tightening it until his victims were dead. Afterward, he would often engage in necrophilic acts with the corpses before disposing of them. Gacy buried the bodies in the crawlspace beneath his house, creating a literal house of horrors. As the years went by, the stench of decay permeated the air, a grim testament to the atrocities committed within. Gacy's downfall began with the disappearance of 15-year-old Robert Piest in December 1978. Piest was last seen with Gacy, who had offered him a job. The investigation quickly pointed to Gacy, and police obtained a search warrant for his house. What they discovered was beyond their worst nightmares. The search revealed a macabre graveyard beneath Gacy's home. Investigators found the remains of 29 bodies in the crawlspace, with 4 more bodies recovered from the nearby Des Plaines River, bringing the total known victims to 33. The sheer scale of Gacy's killings shocked the nation and drew widespread media attention. As the investigation unfolded, Gacy remained shockingly composed and cooperative, often downplaying his involvement. However, the mounting evidence left little doubt about his guilt. The discovery of personal belongings of the victims in Gacy's home, including watches and driver's licenses, further cemented his fate. John Wayne Gacy's trial began in February 1980. His defense tried to plead insanity, but the jury was unconvinced. The overwhelming evidence of Gacy's guilt, coupled with his chilling courtroom demeanor, led to a swift conviction. On March 13, 1980, Gacy was found guilty of 33 murders and sentenced to death. The trial was a media spectacle, with Gacy displaying a disturbing lack of remorse. His detailed confessions, in which he nonchalantly described the murders, revealed a man completely devoid of empathy. The courtroom testimonies from the families of his victims added an emotional weight to the proceedings, highlighting the immense pain and suffering caused by Gacy's actions. While on death row, Gacy spent his time painting, creating disturbing artwork that was later auctioned off, further profiting from his infamy. His lack of remorse and continued attempts to downplay his responsibility for the murders only added to the public's horror. On May 10, 1994, After 14 years on death row, John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection. His final words, "Kiss my ass," epitomized his defiant and remorseless attitude until the end. John Wayne Gacy's legacy is one of unparalleled horror. The stark contrast between his public persona and his monstrous crimes has cemented his place in the annals of criminal history as one of the most terrifying figures. Gacy's case prompted significant changes in how law enforcement and society approach missing persons and potential serial killer cases, leading to improved investigative techniques and greater public awareness. Gacy's story has been the subject of numerous books, documentaries, and films, each attempting to grapple with the incomprehensible nature of his evil. The house where he committed his crimes was demolished, but the memory of the horrors that took place there remains. Gacy's crimes have been extensively analyzed by psychologists and criminologists, seeking to understand the factors that drove him to such extreme acts of violence. His abusive childhood, repressed sexuality, and need for power and control over his victims are frequently cited as key elements in his psychological makeup. Gacy's ability to compartmentalize his life, being a successful businessman and a community clown by day, and a sadistic murderer by night, demonstrates a terrifying level of cognitive dissonance. This duality is perhaps what makes his story so chilling, as it reveals the capacity for darkness that can exist beneath a seemingly benign exterior. His interactions with law enforcement, including the period when he was under surveillance and the confident demeanor he maintained even as the evidence mounted against him, showcase a manipulative and calculating mind. Gacy's psychological profile is a stark reminder of how deep-seated trauma and psychological disturbances can manifest in horrifying ways. The cultural impact of John Wayne Gacy's crimes extends far beyond the immediate horror of his actions. His story has influenced countless works of fiction, from movies and TV shows to novels and true crime documentaries. The image of the killer clown, juxtaposing childhood innocence with grotesque evil, has become a powerful and enduring symbol in popular culture. Gacy's case also brought about significant changes in the legal and criminal justice systems. His ability to operate undetected for so long highlighted the need for better tracking of missing persons and more coordinated efforts between different law enforcement agencies. The public's heightened awareness of the signs of serial killers and the importance of vigilance in communities can be traced back to the revelations of Gacy's monstrous deeds. John Wayne Gacy's story is a haunting reminder of the evil that can lurk behind the most ordinary of facades. His ability to deceive those around him, combined with the sheer brutality of his crimes, continues to fascinate and horrify the public. Gacy's life serves as a grim cautionary tale about the depths of human depravity and the importance of vigilance and awareness in protecting the vulnerable. As long as there is curiosity about the darker aspects of human nature, the legacy of John Wayne Gacy will endure, casting a long, sinister shadow over the world of crime and the collective imagination of society. His story remains a chilling testament to the horrors that can hide in plain sight, a reminder that monsters can wear the most unexpected masks. In the end, Gacy's life and crimes serve as a stark reminder of the duality of human nature, the capacity for both extreme evil and the facade of normalcy. His legacy, shrouded in horror and mystery, continues to be a powerful and unsettling chapter in the annals of criminal history, forever etching his name in the grim chronicles of the world's most notorious killers.